When it comes to measuring the worth of a DPS, people often look only to damage numbers. Naturally, the point of comparison for the Herrscher of Origin is going to be her predecessor, the Herrscher of Thunder. Seeing as to how the secondary support is still Golden Diva, and how the Herrscher of Thunder's Optimum Stigmata set actually clashes with her, we're gonna equip Golden Diva with Turgenev TB and May Beach Party M instead. We'll do the damage test with the Herrscher of Origin, then we'll do the same with the Herrscher of Thunder equipped with the 7 Thunders of Retribution. Even though the Herrscher of Origin is slightly lacking with this setup, we need to remember that she has the option of Golden Diva equipping Handle still open. And with Handle, the Herrscher of Origin at S0 greatly outdamages the Herrscher of Thunder. It's worth noting that I usually do DPS tests without any divine keys or emblems. Now, the rotation might look longer with the Herrscher of Origins, but the technical time spent is still less due to her ability to stop time when performing moves like her combo attack and ultimate. Also, on a side note, not that it matters, but we also have a bit of bonus stats and a leader skill upgrade with the Herrscher of Thunder because she's actually S1 here. All things considered, the Herrscher of Origin is already proving to be a promising addition to our arsenal. The fact that she is literally given out for free as long as you complete Chapter 34 while Virgin Kiana is still ongoing, and the fact that her equipment banner is in the legendary rebate banner where we get a rebate of 5 focus supply tickets per 10 pull for the first 40 pulls, her crystal value to damage output is way higher than the Herrscher of Thunder. And yes, while damage output is important, there are multiple factors that can make a DPS more viable than another. The Herrscher of Origin is an imaginary type battlesuit and has the ability to bypass the husk and deal direct damage to the core of the imaginary type enemies, though not quite as powerful as the nuclear bomb known as Palatinus Equinox in this situation. Being able to chip away at the core before it's exposed is still a huge advantage in such fights. Being an imaginary type also means she is type neutral against bio, psychic, and mech type enemies, having a type weakness only against quantum type enemies. When looking at the future of the Abyss and Memorial Arena, it's evident that we're going to see a lot more imaginary type enemies since that's where the lore is also headed. In the Abyss, elemental damage weather is apparently going to become a thing. The Herrscher of Origin being part of the trio is definitely going to bring players a huge advantage in such weathers. In terms of priority, generally I would put the Herrscher of Origin at number 2 behind the Herrscher of Truth. However, if you're in the situation where you just skip the Herrscher of Truth in version 6.3, then gearing the Herrscher of Origin becomes the number 1 priority while in version Kiana. The value of the rebate banner is too good to pass up, and add that to the fact that the battlesuit can be acquired at 0 crystal cost, and the reason she's bumped up to number 1 priority becomes extremely apparent. At this point, it goes without saying that the signature weapon of a Herrscher is almost irreplaceable. Not only do the stats push the limits of how much a weapon can legally provide to its wielder, they are often, if not always, tailor-made to match the actions of the battlesuit in combat. For the Herrscher of Origin, it's also going to provide her with her only support ability, increasing the elemental damage taken by enemies hit by her combo attack. Additionally, her signature weapon, Domain of Unity's weapon active, allows us to parry attacks, which then unleashes an attack and buffs the wielder's lightning damage. There are going to be fights where the parry ability is going to be a huge plus, and though not necessary, it does kind of elevate the gameplay experience. For as long as you're in version Kiana, the Herrscher of Origin and her gear should not be something to pass up, no matter what level of gameplay you're at. One last point I'd like to mention is that the Herrscher of Origin does actually have a major functional upgrade at S2, lowering the cooldown of her ultimate evasion, which actually results in her overall damage output being massively increased. We'll cover more in the trio's mechanics when we get to the video with the Herrscher of Finality, but basically it allows for lower SP costs on the ultimates of the Herrscher of Truth and the Herrscher of Origin, and is going to make this team work very differently and hard to compare with other team setups. Additionally, if you've prepared enough crystals to pull for a battlesuit and gear, then pulling for the Herrscher of Finality and eventually completing the trio would still allow for a 2 support setup if support gear like Turgenev TB and May Beach Party M are put on the Herrscher of Finality, effectively switching the role of main DPS to the Herrscher of Origin, which could still work for a good number of fights. And that's all we have for the Herrscher of Origin. I'm gonna have videos for the other 2 members of the trio, so be sure to check them out if you're deciding which one to get first. Until then, this has been MG, bye bye.